has drawn up here. Here's Fritz. It's an elevator screen. Good defense. They've switched everything. Big hit! Fritz! Wow, with the defense in her face. There's 23 seconds on the clock. They go inside. That could be a turnover. They get it back. Oh, this is big. Bristow passes it to Fritz. Back to Love. Love is probably the best one. You want the ball into her hands. She doesn't need a screen. She goes to the left where she's been successful all day. The block, but it's a foul.
Let's go! Texas Tech and Team USA are headed to the gold medal game in the World University Games on Friday at 1 p.m. against the defending champions of this event, China. So, mark your calendars for that. In this video, you got me right now, but I promise you Tyler's about to be on your screen. He could not be here to recap the Hungary game. So what you're getting in this video is, in a minute, he's going to pop on screen with me, and we recapped the pool play games and the quarterfinal matchup with Finland before the Hungary game and got that done, and then he had to leave, watch the game for Hungary, and then I'm going to recap that after our recap of the other one. So it's all in this video to get you ready to watch the gold medal game on Friday. That's what this video is all about, so stay tuned for that, and if you're not, please like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do, all the things. It helps us grow and helps us keep supporting these teams and vibing on here. So that's what I got for you. Goodbye. You're about to see Tyler and me. All right, so let's recap what's happened up to the point that Tyler's here, because Tyler's not going to be here for the next half of the video as we talked about, but we got him now for the pool play games and the first match, the quarterfinal match against Finland. We're going to kind of quick recap each of those to get y'all up to speed for what's coming later this week in the medal round games. And first we had Germany. Texas Tech, Team USA got it done against a solid Germany squad. They won 69-63, a little bit of a comeback style win late in that game. That was good to see early. Again, the streamers hit or miss. What were your takeaways from that one, Tyler?
Yeah, honestly, as you said, the end of game synergy was my biggest takeaway. We couldn't watch it because the stream went out, but I
Was
remember
a
I was
bummer.
refreshing my phone and there was a moment where like it was kind of almost being deja vu from last season because it's like we were like one basket away from retaking the lead in the fourth quarter, and it's like who's going to do that, or are we just going to stay behind the entire game and keep missing shots? Well, Danae ended up getting a steal, and then it was a transition layup, and then that made us take the lead, and then from there we were able to close it out on free throws. Free throws. We made
Sure.
our free throws to close the game out, and I think that was my biggest takeaway was that even though this team was like kind of they were kind of like trading punches with Germany,
Mm-hmm.
they were able to come back against the home country in front of a home crowd and were able to make that comeback and show that they have fight in them in the fourth quarter. So I just thought that little bit of progress is already enough for me to feel confident going into this upcoming season.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good thing. We're going to get into like our biggest takeaways next week and kind of go through
Hmm.
it. But that's a good point. We talked about end game synergy. Would they be able to overcome runs? That's not something we really talked about in that preview. But that's something I've been impressed with so far in this tournament. Is when these other teams have gone on runs, which is normal in basketball, it didn't crumble us, and we just went on a run of our own. So I think we were outscored 20-11 in the third quarter against Germany. We just went on to outscore them 23-14 in the fourth quarter. And to be fair, in the third quarter, if I remember correctly, Fritz and maybe someone else was in foul trouble as well in the third, maybe Jalen in that game,
So,
and didn't play
hmm
much in the third quarter. So once we got our starters back out there in the fourth, we retook control. But Germany's a really solid team. I honestly, when I started looking at their roster, I wasn't sure how that was going to go, just because of the height that they have in areas that were maybe we don't have as much height on this team, and they have some pro players on a team. They have a senior national team player for Germany that plays on their team. I don't know how Germany got their roster. Host country perks. I just go look at their roster. There's like 25 and 26-year-olds all over it. So yeah, I think we use our strengths. Our guard player was better outside of their point guard, who was really solid, and we got it done. But leaders in that game: 20 points for Deanna Gaston, NCAA help a girl out. 5 rebounds as well. Then you had Adley Blacklock. We're going to talk about her in a minute too for the Finland game, but she came out with great energy in this game, shooting it freely. Was 2 for 6, but also went to the free throw line 9 times and got 15 points. had 3 rebounds and assists and a couple steals. And then Danae Fritz had 14 points in this one, not a single three. Still got to 14 points. If you know Danae Fritz in this show, that is an important note right there. And she also got to the free throw line, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. So that's something we talked about last week. Both of them being more aggressive. They're kind of known as 3-point shooters, but they can do so much more. And you got to see that in the very first game. And as far as we can tell, looking at stats, we've seen that as the tournament's gone on, and certainly saw it in the Finland game, what we're talking about. So that was big. And then Sydney Love had 12 points as well, 6 assists, I believe, 4 assists, um, 3 rebounds, and a steal. So turnover still a bit of an issue for this team. That's carried over, but it's July. I'm not going to back down from what I said. I wasn't expecting pretty basketball, so I can't then get mad when there's not pretty basketball happening. But from what we've seen, I actually kind of like what's happening offensively for the most part. There's some good stuff happening. So yeah, any other thoughts on Germany before we fast forward into the next couple games that we sort of got to watch, but not always?
Yeah. I think we were kind of talking about this over text, but there's like this trio that's sort of forming. And obviously, once you add Bailey to the mix, I mean, we may as well make it be a four-person thing. But Jalen, when you're looking at plus and minus, because we really harped on that last year, and sometimes plus or minus is like give or take,
For
not
sure.
exactly believe it all the time. But I think it's interesting to see that even though Jalen only had 6 points and 4 rebounds in Germany, she was plus 19. And then you take a look at Sydney Love, who was plus 10 and had 12 points and 3 rebounds. And then you add in Danae in the mix, who was plus 17, which we always knew Danae was usually always in
Yes.
the plus unless we were
Yeah.
getting blown out. Like that's her thing. She's able to have 6 rebounds and 14 points. So I would just keep an eye on that little trio going because I think once we get into the other game, well, I'll bring that trio back up again because they did something that was kind of cool.
Good point. And then before we move on, just want to give Bird Martin a shout out. Hasn't been the best scoring tournament for her, but she is rebounding well. She led us in rebounds in that first game. As an 18-year-old going up against 25, 26-year-olds on this Germany team, Bird is the youngest player in this tournament, I believe, from what I could find looking at rosters. And her shooting's going to get going eventually. Like, I'm not worried about that. She's shooting confidently, at least. She had 8 rebounds, though. Led the team in rebounds
Very
as
cool.
as your backup point guard. Again, she's 6'2", so it's a little bit of a cheat code, but she's been rebounding well in each of these games and contributing in that way, even if her shot's not quite falling. So that was Germany. Great way to start. A lot of excitement around that. Beating the host country in front of their home crowd. Some home officials a little bit as well.
Oh yeah.
The ones we got to watch. And then you moved straight off. No rest for the weary. They had like a very quick turnaround because that was a night game, and then they had an earlier game the next day against Chinese Taipei, where the US/Tech won 79-68. Wasn't the most dominant effort, but again, they got it done. Taipei was scrappy. They just kept chunking threes and they just kept going in. And I was like, all right, bet. And that kind of kept them in it, but the U.S. dominated this game from start to finish, and you kind of knew they were going to win, and they were able to get it done. So, yeah, we won 79-68. Some top performers, Gaston again, 20 points, 6 rebounds. But this was kind of the Jalen Bristow breakout game. Germany, she fouled
Mm.
out, so was in foul trouble a lot of that game. Didn't get in there, and that was a struggle for her last year with getting fouls. She only had 2 fouls in this game, so it was already a step. She was like, not going to do that shit again. Sorry, guys. We're not doing that. Got rid of that, and got a double-double. 19 and 10, 4 assists, and a steal. Like, she was just full menace mode in this game. Danae had 16 points, was 4 of 6 from 3 in this. Again, she's shooting confidently. It's fun to see her out there. 5 rebounds, 3 steals, and an assist. And then you just had a number of other people contributing. Sydney again had a quiet 8 points. Bird had 5 points in this, so all from the free throw line, but she found a way to get on the scoring line. Jada had a couple of buckets in this too. And then Kennedy Winfrey, again, shout out her. Cool story on her. She's a former high school legend around these parts. Got into this game and had 7 points and 5 rebounds and 3 assists. So that was a good game for Kennedy Winfrey as well. I know she's not on the team, but she's a local player, so got to give her a shout out. So that's kind of the stats. Let you do your plus or minus thing again because there's some good ones in that one too.
Oh yeah, for sure. So again, we're seeing this trend again happening with kind of the trio, but because Cindy got in foul trouble, when Jalen and Danae are on the floor, I mean, it seems like it's working out pretty good because Jalen was plus 18 and Danae was plus 13. Um, So obviously that's very impressive to see that. Obviously Gaston is plus 19. Gaston has been really helpful for us to kind of add that on there. But
Very good.
I think just kind of looking at that, you're just kind of looking. Adley was plus 8, and she didn't even score, but she had 6 rebounds in this game. So, and 3 assists. So when you're kind of looking at that, you're kind of like, okay, our players that we have that will be returning for next year's roster or whatever are still doing their job, and that's who we want to see in like our starting lineup. So it's kind of good to kind of see Jalen get settled in there and to kind of see Danae take this leadership role. I think it was Taipei where I pointed out in the huddle that Danae was the one that was leading the 1, 2, 3 together chant like at the end, and usually that's like your team leader captain. So if Bailey out, Danae's really done a great job kind of taking over and knowing what she's supposed to do and having double figure scoring games, something we didn't really see a whole lot last year.
For sure, for sure. She's listed as the captain on the roster as well. I guess they have to list captains over there. It's a very European thing, but she has
Oh,
a
that's
little,
what the C was. I was
she
like,
has the
I'm thinking
C
it's
next to
captain.
her name, yeah, on the list. So yeah, not surprising. We kind of heard that was going to be the rule. Yeah, I've been very impressed with Danae Fritz in this, and we'll talk more about that next week. But really encouraging the way she's playing. She just seems more comfortable, confident, and every phase of the game. And moving in, even into the next one, which would have been Poland. I don't have a lot of thoughts about Poland because it's kind of like that if a tree falls in the forest and nobody heard it or whatever, did it happen situation. This game happened. We saw a final score, but like we didn't see it or hear it. So did it happen, Tyler? I don't trust the
I
stats
don't
that are
know.
out there. There's no
Yeah.
video to exist. They did lose 77-71. From what I gathered talking to people that know people that were there, vice versa, getting a little insight of what was going on. Poland was just pretty tall, which I discussed on Red Raider Sports with people as well, was a concern. They have a 6'7" player listed, but everybody that's seen her in person said they're like, no, she's 6'9". I don't know why they list her as 6'7". And she's played pro basketball for 5 years in Europe. And if you Google her name, she has a WNBA profile, which to me says that someone at some point offered her a WNBA thing and she just never came over to the States to take it. But she's been playing pro in Europe since she was 17.
Oh my
And
god.
so she doesn't put up like massive stats. Like when you look at her stat line, she'll have like 10 points or something a game. But that's a cheat code in women's basketball still to have. And she's mobile. She looks like a volleyball player out there. She can move around. She really changes how you play at the rim. And even as good as our front court players have been in this tournament with Gaston and Bristow and even Malone coming on lately, that's tough because at their tallest, they're 6'3" right there. So that girl has 6 inches on them already. And then they also have a 6'4" and a 6'5" player. And it was just like a bunch of volleyball players out there. And I think that was part of it. But also, it was a very physical game.
Hmm.
And at first, I was told it was like they were playing rugby. And sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, everybody uses the excuse of the officiating was bad when they lose. I was like, whatever. And then I went and looked at the pictures because they post pictures to the media hub that we have access to use after each game for stories and stuff. And these pictures, and Tyler's seen them as well. And if you read the article on Red Raider Sports, you saw a few of them that I posted in there. Legitimately hand-to-hand combat. There's one where they're like, is it Danae or was it who was getting like poked in the eye in one of the
I
pictures?
think it was Danae. Like Danae literally
Yeah,
was like,
yeah. She was like literally. There's a picture where this girl has her hand on Danae's face in the picture. There's other ones where they're like grabbing each other's arms, and of course Danae's in like the middle of all of them. Now that we say that, because we know she's not afraid of the scrum, so that was good to see. But it seemed like maybe their physicality got to us a little bit, and we weren't quite ready for that. And it took us a little bit to get in the game. We were down pretty big early in the game, but they had a massive comeback. If the stats are correct, it's so hard to tell, where they went on like a 17-0 run at some point late in the game or something like that. 14-0 run, led by Danae Fritz, Jalen Bristow, Sydney Love, really a couple of baskets from Gaston if the play can be trusted. So they really fought, and they were like, we're not going out like this. And it took them a little bit to maybe catch up to that physicality. And once they got there, they kind of took over the game, but it was too little too late is what I gathered. They shot it okay, 38% from 3, 44% overall. Not terrible. We were taking those numbers a lot of games last year. And then continued to shoot well from free throw, but just a couple of late baskets. I think they got it within 1 point late, and then couldn't quite make a basket after that. But storm back, they tried, but again, I don't fully trust this box score. But that's kind of my overall thoughts. If you have any, go for it.
Yeah. Obviously, it was disappointing. Obviously, I didn't watch it because first of all, we don't even know if it was
Well,
streamed. It probably
nobody. It
wasn't.
was not streamed.
Oh yeah, it was not
Yeah,
streamed. And it was 5 in the morning our time. So
I didn't even.
clearly, it was
Yeah, it's
not.
true. The
Yeah.
live
It
stats I
was.
don't think were working either, but the after game box score definitely was broken.
Yeah, no, because at one point they had Bailey Maupin saying that she was in there, and then
Yeah.
the team
Oh my
account had to
god.
reply
If
and was like, "No,
anybody,
Bailey did not play, and
yes.
Gaston definitely scored." Like,
Yes, if anybody, I got so many messages about that, which shows you how many people are paying attention, which that's why I love Texas Tech. They
that's
don't
good.
always
Yeah.
act like they're watching, but when something crazy happens like that, they're like, "Oh my god, did Bailey?" Like our DMs are like, "Bailey's playing." I'm like, "No, she's not."
No,
So
yeah.
Bailey Maupin did not play in this game, but yeah, for a little bit, the box score said she like came in for 1 minute and hit a three. I was like, "That is very Bailey Maupin," but no, she didn't play.
Yeah, but yeah, it was disappointing to wake up and see that we had lost, but and then it looked close, and then it looked like in the third quarter we were down by double digits. And then yeah, I just kind of again kind of going back to that point that we'll kind of talk more about next week is just I just do appreciate, that trio of like and even Gaston had like I think two free throws. If the play-by-play is right, Gaston may have had like I think a couple free throws in there, but the charge was mainly led by in at least the last few minutes of the fourth quarter to get it
For
down to
sure.
this 71-77 was Love, Fritz, and Bristow. So that's what I do appreciate because it's like, all right, they'll actually be on the team next year. They'll actually have to be able to
Yeah.
take charge and then to game moments. And then again, as we said, you add in Bailey in the mix. That's just good things to have to see people wanting the ball at the end of the game. But that's kind of all I have because again, we don't really know what happened in this game. So I'll give them grace. I was not happy that my red, white, and blue lost, but I'll give them grace because we don't know
Yeah.
what
I think
happened.
Poland's better than people realize too.
For
I think
sure.
I get the disrespect, but I think what people have to realize and it takes a little bit to wrap your mind around it, but these teams are all-star teams for their country. Like they're picking
Hmm.
the best of the best from the different colleges or the pro ranks. Let's be honest, these rosters have pro players all of them. I don't understand how they're allowed, but anyway, they have a bunch of European pro players on there. Also, their system's different. They start playing pro at like 16, so I get it. So they're like kind of picking and choosing the best. Let's be frank, if the United States picked and choose the best, I could argue maybe one or two of our players would have been like in the running just based on, because who else, the U19 World Cup's going on as well and all that. So maybe someone ends up on it, but it wouldn't have been our roster. They're guessing over there. So the fact that we're not just competing but still winning, even though yes, I get there's a talent gap from the U.S., but I don't think people are. This is not a WNBA All Star team that we sent over there. It's
Right.
our
This
Texas
isn't the
Tech team,
reigning champs.
right?
Yukon, like.
So it does even out a little bit when the other teams are picking their best of whatever is left after these other tournaments are going on, and we're just sending our team over there, right? It's different. It's not, you know what I mean? So I think there is some talent gap discussions that people aren't taking that into consideration. Even if you go look at the men's side, Baylor is over there, and they struggled with Latvia. They only won by like 7. I don't know any
Mhm.
basketball players that have come from Latvia. I know some good volleyball players, but not basketball players. Anyway, so because that's an all-star team for them versus their team as well. So just want to say that as a misnomer. I get annoyed having those conversations. So it is impressive that we're able to do this. So yeah, I have no idea what actually happened, but again, Jalen Bristow almost had another double-double in this, 10 points, 9 rebounds. Good to see her contributing. Only had 1 turnover. That's been a problem. Again, the trend of us having low turnovers and losing continues. Needs to be studied. Actually, only had 13 turnovers and we lost this game. Honestly, I have my theories on that, but we're not going to get into that now. Hopefully that trend stops and I never have to dive into that deeper. But yeah, 13 points for Sydney Love, 19 for Gaston, 12 for Danae. Just steady. I like that those 4 players have been steady for us. 3 of those on the team. That's good. We didn't have a lot of steady production from people last year, so loved it. Then we moved in. This game really didn't matter, so to speak. Both teams were 2-0 coming into it. That's why I didn't get too upset. We had already clinched a spot in the quarterfinals in the winners bracket. This was more for seeding than anything. So we all move into the chance to play for a medal now on Tuesday, where we matched up with, I believe, what would have been statistically the number 1 seed because of point differential, Finland, who definitely was in a weaker group, which I talked about on Red Ritter Sports, and to keep that in mind. But they were just murdering people, Tyler. They had a plus
Oh yeah.
255 point differential. Like,
Crazy.
I don't care who you're playing. That's absurdity. They were just like 104 to 50, 122 to 40 against people in their group play and just really having a time. They came into the game with us second in the entire tournament in points scored per game at 95 points a game, and first in opponents' points per game at 42 points per game. And we said, that's cute. We're going to win 77 to 62, which is basically 30 points better than both of their averages if you go ahead and do that math. More than 30 points. 35 points higher than what they were averaging, holding people to, and then like 30 points under their scoring average as well. So really dominating this game from start to finish again. Our pressure was there. That's kind of what I was hoping to see, a day off, get their legs under them. Finland's a pretty long, tall team. They have a 6'4", 6'6" girl. Most of them are pretty lean and athletic as well, and they can move around. Their quickness, I was like, they're pretty quick, actually. But our pressure just really annoyed them from the jump, and we were really bought into that. Danae was all over them, like full court. Like the way she can play defense without fouling is so impressive to me. She doesn't do the reach and grab thing that people have an issue with so often, but can still stay right on them. It's very impressive, and she was annoying the shit out of them. And then Adley Blacklock was a menace in this game, like a menace. I mean, I don't know what she was told before the game. I don't know what pissed her off, but she was attacking the rim like she was like prime Michael Jordan out there. She was doing like going up and then doing up and unders in the air, trying to like finesse shot around them while taking contact. She's like, F it, you're gonna run me over. I'm gonna still try to make this. And then she had one crazy one where she just, we all talked about none of this shit, like running into people and falling over or like leaning over, trying to avoid contact, stuff that we talked about last week. That is exactly what we were talking about. Case in point, we'll probably show that clip next week when we get into that game. Case in point, she didn't. She ran right into him, took the contact, should have been an and one, finished it. So I thought Adley Blacklock, energy-wise, was kind of the leader in this game. Like, I don't know if we win that without the way she set the tone early. Danae on defense, 3 steals and 2 blocks was a menace. And then, of course, Jalen Bristow, her shooting is just so fun to watch.
Oh,
20
I know.
points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. 3 of 7 from 3, 7 of 15 overall. Just taking confident step back mid range. Like, it's what she's capable of. We've said this for a long time. People can't do what Jalen Bristow can do when she plays like that. When she's confident, locked in. There was a few moments in the third quarter where she slipped out of that menace mode a little bit, but then she locked back in and finished strong in the fourth quarter. Yeah, so those are kind of the 3 standouts from that game. And Jada Malone as well had a really big game. Of course, Gaston always is good. 17 points and 12 rebounds. Great as well. NCAA, help a girl out again. But I thought Jada Malone was really good in only 20 minutes played. Had 11 points and showed me some good things that gave me some encouragement moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that this was kind of Jada Malone's breakout game. We're kind of waiting to see because our other big Sarah isn't eligible to play. So, it's kind of good to see Malone finally get her groove in. I thought I saw a lot of good things from that. She was able to draw contact. Yesterday, she missed, I think, 2 free throws, which was the first free throw she's missed all tournament when she's gotten to the line. So I just kind of like to see more of that aggressiveness. She can do some great moves down low. That was something good that we got to see. Way like probably one of the better skilled posts we've had in a while. So just kind of exciting to see what she's going to be able to bring to the table. And then, yeah, Jalen Bristow. I mean, we were talking, if y'all remember reading her intro thing, she's talking about how her favorite player is Candace Parker. She wants to style that play. She was playing some Candace Parker style basketball yesterday.
We've seen her play some consistent.
Oh, yes.
Close. I mean, that's big words to say. I mean, on the train to Candace Parker, her idol basketball. That's some good stuff.
Like, she got up at that free throw, like, she would just dribble up to the free throw line and just, like, shot it, and it would just swish in, and her 3 ball was looking really great, and she was just all over the place, and honestly, like, her defense at times was looking really good, especially when we were kind of running that zone. I mean, Finland, Finland, like, she just kept stealing the ball and was just, like, making her layup shots.
There was a point, and I'll just show the highlights. Actually, we'll just talk about the highlights over them so we can get this in. I forgot we had highlights for this, but there was a point where she got like 3 steals in a row in this game, and I was like, Finland's like probably just ready to quit.
Oh, I know.
There's Jalen starting the game
Three
off with
from
a
the
3.
corner,
I'm
10.
just gonna turn the sound off because it's a little hit or miss. This is a great rebound from Gaston. NCAA, help a girl
at that.
out, please.
I know, please.
We would be so good with that starting 5. Oh, well, that's not even the
We
starting
would.
5. You'd add Bailey in there too. Like, that's insane. Look at that defense from Danae. Just great. Sydney Love getting better and better in the half court. Been a lot of turnovers this thing, but she's getting more comfortable. This is that defense I was talking about from Danae.
Look at Danae. Look at
Like,
that.
not touching the girl at all. At all. At
And the
all.
FIBA refs
And just
have not been lenient either.
Yeah. And it's annoying the shit out of him. And this is then Jalen is the beneficiary of all that annoyance. She gets a steal on this. She had a couple of steals in this game. Felt like more. We turned it over. Jalen said, I got you, girls. Don't worry. Clean that up. Another one. This was this was all right next to each other. She had like 2 steals and a block. Yeah, she was just very active, and that's what we need from her. Here's Jada Malone. Look at that spin.
Look at that. She was able to get to the line.
Yeah. Again, back-to-back plays from
Malone.
her. A little bully ball. We love it. And then I just love this so much from Jalen.
That's my favorite play. Like,
people are going to give her that shot until she proves she can make it consistently. And the fact that she's done that in this tournament is great. This was beautiful. That is a point guard play right there. And that gives me hope that we have Gemma as well. But we know we at least have one point guard right now because Sydney has been great.
Sydney and Malone have both had some great moments from what we were able to watch. That might be a good pipeline to look out for. Maybe add Gemma in the mix.
Yeah, I just love, and I've said this to a couple of people now, and I know it sounds silly pointing it out because it's such a fundamental thing, but Sydney Love is so good at layups. So good. She doesn't miss them. Like, even through contact. It's just the fundamentals of her. And then look at Adley. Talk about contact. Up and under, gets to the free throw line. Great skip pass by Bird to set this up. And then a no look.
Look at that.
Adley was hooping.
Adley
was in her bag. Jalen, get a little kindness from the rim. Shooter's touch, as they say. Oh, this is the big play from Adley. Oh my goodness. Weight room. And then she like stared down at the girl.
She did.
Madly came out right there. She's so hype. So hype. We have got to figure out ways to get Adley more playing time. Because she can do that kind of stuff. That was easy stuff. Great play by Sydney. Through contact and one.
Look at that.
Tried to take her arm off and she still finished it. Oh, look at this alley-oop play. NCAA, help a girl out. I'm going to say it every time. This was a massive shot from Adley. That's why I said she was player of the game. It's just like in big moments, Adley stepped up. They got it. We had basically a lead throughout this the whole time, but they got it within 4 in that third quarter. Because again, Finland's a really solid team. Like, they've been putting up points on people. And we were holding them down, and they kind of went on a run a little bit, started hitting threes, got within 4, and then Adley hit a huge 3 right there. Her only 3 of the game, I think. And she just hit it in rhythm, inside-out basketball, and then they never got that close again the rest of the game.
Right.
Free throw line jumper from Jalen again. Look at this. Look at this.
Danae.
Confidence. We love it. Oh, there's Danae blocking a shot. Shocker. Floating in the air. The announcers were like amazed. There's a great picture from this game that we'll use at some point of her like shooting a layup. I don't know what it's from. She's like floating. Oh, Jalen. I just love the confidence with which like she wouldn't have taken that. She would have passed it or whatever. Like she's just I don't know. Someone's gotten her to believe in herself enough to just shoot these, and I love it. Oh, look, Sydney Love making another layup and one. Great finish by your girl.
Look at that.
Jada Malone there. Look at that. I mean, the ball fake, seeing the lane, and I really have become a huge fan of Sydney Love. I know I'm going to like Gemma too, and they're going to be a fun duo, but that's going to be a fun battle to see who starts. I'm not going to lie, but that's a later conversation.
For sure.
Good problems to have. So they got it done. They just played good basketball. This was absolutely the best game that they've played in this tournament so far. So hopefully that continues in their next 2 games. Complete game from start to finish. I think Adley said after the game, our big thing was, I'll pull it up so I don't misquote her, but it was basically, we talked about the polling game, how the word was it was very physical maybe we didn't handle the physicality well to start, and it took us a little bit to adjust to it. Well, they took that to heart because she said, today our emphasis was physicality, and I think we did a really good job of matching Finland's physicality. They are a great team, so being able to throw the first punch and take off from there is what we wanted to do. And they absolutely did throw the first punch, and she was kind of the leader of that charge for sure.
Yeah, I think the other thing that we saw yesterday was, we were kind of like what really helped Malone out, I think, is we were like, how can we like kind of adjust the pace of the game, or how can we like make her in the lineup be more beneficial? And I think yesterday on defense, we saw zone whenever she would play, and I think it really helped out a lot to kind of have us working on the zone. Clearly though, in that 2-3 zone though, that did let Finland like there would be times where US was up by like 10 points and then they would just creep back in by just making three-pointers galore. Like that's how you try to attack a zone. We were able to respond well, but I did kind of like to see that defensive adjustment just so that, we're not overall struggling and she's not having to chase down her man the entire time. So I just think I'm excited to see more adjustments as we progress on, especially if we have to take on Poland or China, who are very, very, very good. I mean, Poland already beat us, and China is looking really great. So I'm kind of excited to see the adjustments now that all the coaches are there right now. Because for a while, the other coaches were doing recruiting, like Katera
Yeah.
and Jada. So now they're all back, and then Walters is there, obviously. So now that everybody's back, I think that we're finally seeing like, all right, what can this team fully string together and try to get this gold medal?
We're going to have a lot more overall thoughts about the team and kind of what we've taken because, again, you can take only so much from this, but I think there have been some individual takeaways, good and bad, but more good than bad, to be honest, at this point for me. So that's been nice. But yeah, next, they're playing later today. I'm going to recap that in a minute. You'll see magic's going to happen and you'll see us jump ahead, and I will give a mini recap of whatever happens in today's game with Hungary, who's good. So I'm interested to see how that's going to go out, to be honest. And they came from maybe a decent pool, a much better pool than Finland for sure in pool play and dominated. They're 4-0. It's an interesting one because we still have a game to go and recap. But any final thoughts before we say goodbye to Tyler? Because he's got to go travel and do all the things or wherever he's going. I don't remember where you're going to see family or something. So we had to record this before he left. And then you're going to be stuck with me for the last half. So I apologize in advance.
Yeah, no, go Team USA. Let's kick ass and get that gold medal.
Gold medal, yeah. We're just
Yeah,
assuming
we're
we're in the gold medal
convinced.
match. A medal at
And
all
if
would be
we're
hype. We said that, but when we
Right.
started this, gotta go do it in about 10 minutes. Next time you hear from us, it'll be after that. They're about to play, so we're gonna go watch that game, and then this is gonna shift into me talking about that game, and then we'll get y'all ready for whatever medal match they're in. Hope it's gold, and then we'll talk to y'all next week to recap it and give y'all more of an overall thoughts of what we've seen. But if y'all have any thoughts yourself, drop them in the comments, like, follow, all those things. Follow along. All right. See you, Tyler. Reg 'em. All right, so y'all got the recap on the quarterfinal matchups and the pool play games. As promised, I told you I would be back solo. I'm sorry, you got to put up with me, just me for this, the Hungary highlights. But what a game it was. Y'all saw that highlight at the very beginning of the show. Hopefully you watched the game or you've seen the highlights circulating on social media since it happened. But just a massive ending to that game. Wasn't the prettiest game, as we'll get into briefly, but they found a way, and that's what really matters, especially in July, for this team to kind of have that about them to dig deep in their fifth game in 6 days. They're playing with 7 players right now. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. So they end up winning this game 73-71. Controlled the game early, then Hungary fought back, came out of half, and Hungary really dominated. Well, I don't dominated, but they outscored USA 18-12 in that third quarter. At some points in that third quarter, the USA would bounce back. They had an 11-point lead at some point in the second half, but just couldn't quite, put their foot on the throat, so to speak. A lot of missed shots that they normally would make, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, some grace, because they were on line, they were straight on, they were just short, and that's usually a sign of dead legs. So give them a little bit of grace for all they've played. Then they also just got a little bit sloppy, if we're being honest, in the second half, and I think they'd agree with that. A little bit lackadaisical. Again, a product of being tired, but somewhere along that way, they decided, hey, we're not going to lose this. Hungary will ultimately go on, as you'll see in the highlights, to to take a lead with about 30 seconds to go, and believe it or not, that was Hungary's first lead of the entire game, which is insanity. And that can be really frustrating for a team, and maybe like a little bit of a mental hurdle that a lot of people can't overcome is when that other team finally gets a lead and it's so late. And it was a 3-point lead at that. So we go to the timeout. I'm personally thinking, hey, we're going to probably go for a 2 and foul them because there's so much time left. But no, they run a beautiful little play, as you saw at the beginning of the show. We'll probably see it in the highlights that we show in a second. Elevator screen for Danae Fritz. A pretty good screen, but they bust through it, and they have it guarded pretty well. And Danae says, F this, I'm shooting it anyway. And it's not like a fling it up there shot, like a prayer, really. I don't know, maybe it was a prayer in her mind, but it's good form, you know, good follow through, and she drills it. And then she goes down, plays great defense, gets a deflection, gets it to Sydney Love, and I just love the way that Sydney took control of that moment, went and got fouled and got to the line and clutch, cold-blooded free throws, finished off the game. So let's run through the highlights real quick, and then I'll run through the leaders and give my quick thoughts, and then I'll get on out of here.
Wide open, Lynn here, good defense.
I only have the first half highlights and then the ending because life, but yeah, Sydney had a great start to the game, got a good little layup going, then she got in foul trouble. And then Bird had to come in, and Bird had to be big. She misses that shot. Big Aston is there cleaning up, and she's just a machine, as the announcer calls her in this.
Swings it on.
This is good defense from Texas Tech. Again, they're pretty tired, and they were flying around early for sure. They definitely started to get tired as the game went on. But
shot clock's winding
yeah,
down.
they're just forcing tough shots.
No.
A great little box out there to keep her from getting it from Bird. Bird played great in this. This was definitely her best game. I mean, whatever that set play is, mark it down, run it 900 times until the other team stops it.
The length.
Did y'all see that, like, length of the court pass from Bird Martin? The girl's going to be so good before she leaves college. Just great stuff in this game from the rising sophomore.
Points in the Finland game.
Deanna Gaston being a pest. We love it.
Fritz into Gaston steps through.
Look at this.
The touch,
I mean, the toughness.
Rebound and a foul.
This game was super physical. I mean, at one point
already.
they, like, murdered Gaston with no call on a layup, and then, like, karate punched, I think it was Danae, like, down the court right after that. And they didn't call that either. It was insanity, y'all. It was insanity. But that's kind of how they play over there, and you have to get used to it. So we fought through it.
Second guess it. See what I mean? The defense has been so good for.
It was very good in the first half, especially.
Much.
Look at these handles by Bert. I mean, come on, sophomore. I can't call her freshman anymore. Big shot, Jalen Bristow. She's just been shooting it really well. How about another? Thank you, ma'am. That was after a nice little run. Hungary went on quite a few runs in the first half too, but we were able to kind of like stave them off better in the first half than we were in the fourth quarter when they actually got a lead. But that was a big shot right there. Another one of those, just throw it up. Maybe it'll go in, or Gaston will get the rebound plays. We love it. Look at that stuttering crossover from Jalen. Okay. Okay, Adley.
Wide open down the middle. Looks
heavy ball.
Heavy,
What are you talking about, announcer? That's buckets.
Back to Martin.
I mean, Bird again was just really good. We saw how good she can be. I mean, 6'2" point guards, cheat code, really. Look at that pass. Bird had a number of great reads and pick and rolls in this game. She has great vision. She had a back cut pass, I think was actually in the game yesterday, that we just didn't quite handle, but it was a great pass. She had a number of good looks in this game. Like, you can see the vision. And the way she plays, like, she's going to be really good.
Wonderful job.
I'm so very encouraged by this game for sure.
Say.
Big moment in this game. Hungary came back, got within 1. It's the closest they had been all game. Danae says enough of that. I'm gonna take this girl 1-on-1, and this starts a little bit of a 7-0 run for the U.S. just to grow that lead back out. It was something that they kept doing. We just couldn't quite get it too much farther out than that. But we saved them off pretty good until the end.
We'll go all the way. That will make me.
Then we immediately play great pressure defense, and they can't get the ball in here.
Now the full court press from the Americans, a 5.
And then directly right after this, I believe Bird's gonna get it. Nice little take and a mid-range shot. These are all right back-to-back, all possessions together. And then we go down and get a stop and come right back down the next possession and do this. So it was all of a sudden a 7-0 run after they got within
executed.
1. So
Black
it was
Glock.
good to see us be able to bounce back from runs in this game.
Black Glock turnaround
Hadley,
jumper.
man.
That's better from her.
Where you been hiding that? More of that.
Bench, but 1 second on the clock.
Bird.
Throw it up.
I mean, Bird.
It in.
Yeah, she's so special. She's just special. She's got things to learn under pressure and stuff, but she took a lot of growth steps in this. I thought she was much better with on-ball pressure in this, and she was willing to take that shot. And she has that height advantage so that she can really create space in those moments like no one else can really do in that exact scenario. And so, I mean, that was really just that was a good look. It wasn't even like that difficult of a shot for her, you know what I mean? So we talked about in our recap earlier that we did before this game happened, and I said, hey, she's 0 for 8 from 3 in this tournament, but I'm not worried about it because like she's shooting them, and that's all I want to see her. Like she's shooting them, they're gonna start falling, and she made 2 threes in this game. So good to see her. We needed her because Sydney got in foul trouble early, and then Adley gets tossed in this game, which was just silly, by the way. Just 2 unsportsmanlike fouls that were kind of procedural, if you will. And then now, again, I don't have second half highlights because, believe it or not, I do have an actual job, so I wasn't able to clip the second half highlights in time to also get you this recap out. But there was some good play in the second half for sure, but a lot of the kind of similar to what you've been seeing from a lot of players, you just repeat that in the second half. And then this is the same clip you saw at the beginning of the show. But what happened leading up to this was, again, the U.S. had that 11-point lead, and then just some sloppy plays, some missed opportunities, some lackadaisical moments that we got to learn from and dig deep. The huddles were very animated. They had the coaches mic'd up. Really appreciated what we were hearing from the coaching staff and how the players were accepting that coaching in those moments. I think the message, and a lot of them were playing for gold. You have to play like that if you want to to get a gold medal and have a chance at a gold medal. And they fought back. It wasn't the prettiest thing I've ever seen, but they were able to get it done in the end. Jalen made a big shot to tie it at 68. We weren't able to get the defensive stop on the other end, but then and they hit a 3, which felt bone crushing. Like I said earlier, I already outlined it. They drew up this play for Danae, and she got it done. Again, they guard this pretty well, but she finds space somehow, and that's a clean shot. I mean, she's holding her follow through. And then what I love is she doesn't celebrate too much. She knows, like, oh, I got their leading scorer, I got to guard here, I gotta do something that gets this big, and she's the one that gets that deflection. Great poise here from Jalen to not freak out or push it. And then I really love like that no one's trying to play, like, I don't know, hero ball on this team. They're like, okay, Sydney's got it, she's got space, she's got the good matchup, let's let her take this big. She can easily get a step on her just like she did and go get it done. Like, everybody just seemed to like know that that was the right matchup in that moment, and there wasn't frantic hot potato mess going on. And to see that in July from a group of players that hasn't played a ton together yet, I thought it was really good to see. I mean, we didn't have a single game tying or game winning shot last year with like 30 seconds or less to go that ended up in a game that you won. Not a single one. We had a lot of them that we attempted, but not a single one that resulted in a win. And their first chance to really do that as a group this year. It's not a game that's going to count in the scorebook for NCAA, but the first chance they have to do that was in this game. And they did that twice. They hit a 3. I mean, really 4 times. They hit the Jalen Bristow to tie it at 68, the 3 from Danae Fritz to tie it at 71, and then the 2 free throws from Sydney to ultimately take the lead that would win the game with about 3 seconds to go. 3 different players did that. Like, that's a really encouraging sign for me. So that was awesome to see. Leaders in this game, Deanna Gaston had 14 points, 11 rebounds. So did Jalen Bristow. Another double-double for her. She's been great this tournament. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 3 of 5 from 3. She's hitting it like 40-something% from 3 right now. Just beautiful stuff out there. And then we also had, 4 other people in double figures. 7 people played. 6 of them were in double figures. That's a little bit insanity. I just need y'all to understand that. That's just impressive stuff. That was nice to see. Danae Fritz had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Again, Bird Martin was great in this game. 11 points. 4 of 9 shooting, had 3 rebounds, 4 assists, led the team in that category, and also had 1 block shot. Adley was great before she got sent off to the locker room. I appreciate it, Adley. Thank you for fighting. 11 points, 5 rebounds, and two steals and 2 block shots. She was very active, very aggressive once again, setting the tone early. And then Sydney Love has just been steady. I think she was the steadiest player in this game. She did get in a little bit of foul trouble in this. She had 4 fouls that kind of kept her minutes down, but when she was out there, she was attacking, controlling the moment, knew when she needed to take it, knew when she needed to pass. Really, really love what Sydney Love has given us in this tournament. 11 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. And those are all the people that were in double figures. So, yeah, I just think overall their ability to come back in that the crowd's against them. Everyone's rooting against the U.S., right? It's cool to be able to upset the U.S. in these type of tournaments. So the crowd's against them at that point. Hungary's come back. They think, oh, this is our game. We fought back. We've gotten it done. And to be able to have that about them late was good to see. Because there were some moments where you're like, okay, guys, get it together. Let's fight through this. And they were able to do it in the end, and that's really all that matters. So they got it done there. And now that sets up a matchup with China, who is the defending champions of this tournament. They've been, I would say, probably the best team consistency-wise in this tournament. They're undefeated. I've seen them play a little bit against some of their games. It's a well put together roster that they have for sure. They have a 6'7" big that's gonna give us some trouble probably. I don't know if she's quite as mobile as the 6'7" big that they played against Poland that gave them fits. I guess we didn't get to see it, like we said, but supposedly she gave us fits. But she went head to head with this Chinese big that's 6'7" as well. And they had a really intense semifinal, very similar to us. China had a battle back at the end, and they actually sent it to overtime and then won it in overtime. It was kind of a battle of the bigs in that. But they also have a guard that's, I think, a 5. They call her a forward. She's 5'10", though, but so I don't know. Maybe Danae can still guard her, right? They list her as a forward, but she is 5'10", and she's their leading scorer at 18.5. She can shoot it really well. I think she's shooting it around 40% from 3. As a team, they just shoot it well in general, which is a concern, obviously. They lead the tournament in field goal percentage and lead the tournament in team 3-point percentage. They're multifaceted. If we turn it over a lot and give them easy looks, they're gonna make them. So that's something that, I don't know, we're just gonna find a way to overcome it. I'm interested to see what the game plan is, if there is a game plan other than, hey, go out there and hoop, because you get one day to prepare for a whole other country. It's not like you have too much game film on them, if any, except for this event to go off of. Probably just general, like, hey, play them like we played this team or whatever in the past. So I think our pressure needs to be there, hopefully with a little bit of rest. I don't know that we can press for a full game, just because, again, 7 players is not very many, but we'll see if they can do that. But even in the half court, I think their pressure can be effective. You got to go after them with your athleticism and let that be your secret weapon. I don't know if it's a secret, but your weapon in this is to use your athleticism and bring the fight to them, similar to what you did with Finland, and be ready to rebound. They rebound it really well, and I think if Texas Tech can find a way to win the rebounding battle, we've seen how that's worked out for them in the past. In the past and in this tournament, if they win the rebounding battle, they usually win the game. And just find a way to get it done. They've already won a medal, which is really cool. No matter what, they have a medal for playing for their country that they can display in their homes or put in the back of their closet until they want to show it to their kids one day. But they already have at least a silver medal, like, locked up, which is hype. But this team has been talking about winning gold and all of their press availabilities, so they're very focused on that. So I think that's their plan. Adley Blacklock said, when we started practice in early June, it's all we've been talking about is getting that gold medal. Seeing it come to life has been awesome, but we aren't surprised. We knew we had the opportunity to be here. It's just fun to keep winning and see what we can do. That was Adley Blacklock. And then Bird Martin had this to say. She said, this is amazing for us to get here. We didn't come here not to get gold, so we are ready for that game. I love that from the sophomore. So let's cook. Yeah, they're They seem focused. You could see it on their faces. They were really frustrated with how that game was going, but they got in that timeout. They listened to what their coach drew up, and they had the guts to go out there and take those shots, make those plays. And I think that they can grow up a lot from that as a team and carry that into the next game with some momentum and be confident in their shots and just keep plugging away at it. So, yeah, I don't really have much more to say than that. Go win the rebounding battle. Take the fight to China. Don't be playing scared or whatever. They're defending champs, all that jazz. But you're the United States of America. You're Texas Tech. You have a chance to win a gold medal like that. You win. How often, or will any of these players ever have a chance to win a gold medal ever in their life again? I hope so. I hope some of them do, but probably not. Like the chances are low. Like only so many people get to do that, and they have the chance to do that right now, right? So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And this is the last game we'll get to watch them play until November, y'all, as fans. So turn it on. FISU FISU.tv. The broadcast has been much better since the bracket round, so all that should be cleared up. You can find live stats on the actual event website. If you want those, we'll tweet out the links for all that, and we'll have recaps and all the things. Tyler will be back with me next week. Don't worry. I know you had to suffer through that with just me. I apologize, but we'll get it done and have like a true overview, like we talked about of before the tournament. We did these are the 5 things we're watching for. We'll probably do like these are the 5 things we learned next week, or the things we learned who did what we were watching for come true kind of vibes. But that's what I got. Follow, like, subscribe. Recom Tech. Go USA. Let's hope we're waving American flags here in about 24 hours or whenever you're watching this. So that's all I got. Reg 'em.